$2.65. Before, y'all were gonna have to pay, y'all's 25% was $82,892.12. Now it's gonna be $98,420.16. That's about $15,528.04 more than what we originally thought we were gonna have to pay.
Well, it's just gonna keep going up the longer we prolong this.
Yeah, I think
This
that-
would be, it's staying on the right side of the road in the original location. It's just, we need to ask for a budget amendment, and Alabama EMA has confirmed that there is additional money. So it would be covered. We just need to pull the trigger if I wanna move forward.
And it's 13 feet tall according to your correspondence.
13 to 12, it's like a shed.
So the water, okay. Width wise, it's 13 slopes down to 12 or?
The way I think it would lay in there, it is gonna be a rectangle. I would think the narrow part, as you're driving up the road, the
Yeah.
narrow, you would see the narrow part, and then, you know, once you got up in front of it, there'll be 2 handicap parking spaces.
So this fits the school.
Yes. And that area, if y'all recall, does kind of drop off from the edge of paving, so it would have to be built up to where the finished floor of the building
Is
would be
ground
just a little bit higher than the asphalt, because we would want it to slope, the
Away,
drainage to
right.
slope away.
All right, according to the parking in the drawing, do we have a concept of how that should be drawn for people to come in, or does that fall in our lap?
No, because we've not turned the architect loose to like start, and that was the other thing I mentioned to y'all, you know, to go ahead and try to get a survey, and then we go ahead and try to get some design professional to figure out how the parking for the whole
Yes, the whole
complex
parking
can
is
work
gonna
out.
get,
That may work well on what we're trying to do with the school as far as having that number, of what the parking lot would cost.
Yeah.
Because we could possibly roll that into the
Mhm.
campaign.
But like I said, I would suggest going ahead and trying to get a survey.
How
if
much
we
you think
can.
it costs, survey?
You know, and I'm not talking about, unless y'all wanted to, surveying the whole piece of property, you know, we could just come up with some project limits. But to be quite honest, because y'all are looking at improving that whole area over there, it might not be a bad idea to get the whole piece of
Yeah.
property surveyed. That way you can use it for master plan.
Well,
Just
I
let them
think-
go ahead
Was
and do
that
it.
done with the deed, finding outs and all of that, or?
Well, what we would wanna ask for is a boundary and topographic survey. That way, they make sure all the property corners are in, and then the drawing they provide shows the boundary, and it shows all of the improvements, anywhere there's underground utilities, and it'll show the contours.
I think that, how much you think something like that cost? $5,000-6,000?
Maybe 7, 8,
Okay, under 10.
and
So if I
that,
put down 10 in my figuring, we'll be safe, right? Okay.
but
So we want, I mean, I think Mark's asking, so we want to pursue this?
Is that what we need to go ahead and request?
I just say he's gonna block the school, but we don't have a choice. I mean, we spend 100,000, we get,
you know, I think the school is sitting at such a high
I agree, I
elevation.
think it's gonna block.
I really don't think it's gonna be.
I don't think it's gonna take from it.
I really don't.
With your-
if it didn't work, it's your fault.
Blame me,
With
I'm
some
good with
I mean,
it.
I honestly
Landscaping.
believe it's gonna be one of those things,
still
where people
stuck with
drive
it
up
2 more
and you go,
years.
wow, they've even got a storm shelter.
Well, and luckily, when we first started this was not the average Kwanzaa hut,
Yeah.
storm shelter. This
Yeah.
was,
I kind of agree with you. If you're coming up the road, you'll see the storm shelter first, but then you'll see the school. But then if you're coming the other way, bam, you're gonna see.
But
the
you know, we
school
can
first.
always, you know, it's gonna be solid poured concrete walls, we can
Mm-hmm.
always plant some shrubs.
That's what I'm saying, with
It's-
the
well, that was
landscaping
one of the
isn't done
original
Yeah.
artist renderings, we did have shrubbery around it. when the very first
Well,
one. said.
well, we could always get somebody to paint,
Well, there could be a, you
mural or
know,
something out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got that
East
lookout
Wood.
tower we took off City Hall, and we're gonna put it
Put
right
over-
there.
No.
Okay, you cannot paint by number though, on the side of the building.
But I think,
Cody,
I think we ought to go ahead and get the whole survey. It'll help us on that, I mean, whatever happens, it'll always, we'll have something that we can hang our hat on to know to go from. Because I'm concerned about, you know, trying to figure out how much we would need as far as cost of paving, all that, getting all that done. Well, this will help us get a number, and I think that would be,
And the other thing that the survey will do too, we can ask them like to spot the trees. Now, if you've got like an individual tree just kind of sitting out to itself, they would actually locate that tree, and a lot of times they'll even kind of draw the size of the canopy, because anytime you develop, you don't ever want to build within the drip line of the canopy, because you'll kill the roots. But if they wind up getting into a clump of trees, typically they'll just locate the perimeter and just have it labeled as, you know, wooded area or something like that. But if you've got individual trees, they'll actually locate those.
all right, when will they bid this? If we get the budget money changed, I think, when would be the start date to bid and then start doing?
Talking about storm shelter? Well, we've got to get all this back to Alabama EMA, and then they've got to send it back to FEMA to get the official budget amendment. Once that gets approved, then that'll allow us to get with our architect, Mark Burns. He'll get it designed, put together the bid package. So I think we're still,
2030.
Yeah.
you know,
Say
let's
2030.
just say, let's guess that it's gonna take FEMA 2 months.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I think for the architect to do his part, you're probably talking 3 or 4. So
So it won't be a bid within.
I think it's gonna be spring.
Yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, I think it'll be
I
spring.
still think the timeline was for what's
I
been
think it's
going
gonna
on.
help handle any wrong.
Yes, it will.
approve this project.
All right, we good? You need anything?
Right. I do have the letter that the mayor needs to sign. I'm just gonna leave it with him.
Okay.
I think they're probably okay, but if they did it as a particular dollar amount before, then probably yes, that would do a different dollar.
So we're good, or we need to?
I think we probably need to have it on the agenda next time to vote on, because you're talking about increasing the dollar
Yes, it
amount.
would need to be
So there's another extra
amended.
$15,000, so you're spending, and I think last time we approved a particular dollar amount. So I really think we probably need to change that.
Okay. Go ahead and add it to next agenda.
We wait till next agenda, gonna mess our timing up too much, Mark. I think the increase in the dollar amount, see, it was approved for that specific dollar amount by the council before. And so if we don't officially change that, it might lead to a little issue. We don't,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we'll just plan on having it on there to increase it to that amount, so,
So, okay, so y'all.
For next
vote at the
time.
Next meeting.
yeah, if
But
that's
this
okay.
survey won't be tied to FEMA, so we can go ahead and get that survey.
Correct. And we don't have to bid out those services, we don't have to bid out our professional services, so I'll just, if y'all are good with it, I'll just reach out to a couple of different surveyors and get a price.
I think that's fine. All right, anything else on Eastwood?
I'm good.
All right, moving on to item 5, unmanned aerial systems. Chief?
Yes, sir, so I think we briefly talked about, Councilman Wilson had a question about, this topic last meeting. And so we've been dealing with the FAA on what our ordinance says. So right now, we're asking to repeal our ordinance until we can get that guidance from the FAA, so we're not having to deal with, trying to enforce stuff that may not go along with what the rules of the FAA is saying, until we can get that guidance from them on what they suggest our ordinance be. So we're just trying to get that repeal for now until we can get that official documentation from them, and then try to follow their guidance on what they think it should say.
I think, I won't speak for everyone, but I think we're okay with that.
It's not on tonight, so
Yes, repealing it is on tonight.
it is?
No, it's
No.
not on the main agenda, it's on the work session. Oh, no, sorry.
I didn't think so.
All right, so we put it on the next,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, You know, sometimes we suspend the rules. Do you wanna do that? Do we need it done that quick, or you just wanna follow those regular
What do you
processes?
I mean, you know right now what we're facing. When you talk with them, what was their urgency with existing?
Right now, we're conflicting with what the FAA rules are and what this FDR is saying, so I think we could wait till the next meeting, but if we didn't wanna have that conflicting issue with the next home game coming up, we didn't run any trouble this last weekend, but you just never know what people's
Yeah,
ideas.
you got a
or
game
thoughts
that's coming the
are.
weekend,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
so can we suspend it?
We can vote to suspend the rule.
Are you ready to add something about it? You have something ready?
I
mean, all we gotta do
it's
is-
ready, but I don't have any, you know, I'd have to write up this, if you want to suspend the rules. I mean, it's not a big deal, and
Probably better do it since we got a game coming up.
Yeah, well, with that game coming up, and
Add it tomorrow, y'all meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, you wanna do it tomorrow with that?
We could just put it in with other business.
We can add that tomorrow, can we? Yeah, that's
That'll
fine.
Give her
Good
time to
thing.
write it
Yeah,
up.
we'll add it, we have the 3 o'clock meeting tomorrow, so we can just add it to that meeting,
3:30?
3:30.
all right, then another question, then why can't we add the other on the storm shelter? If you're gonna start adding.
Hey.
Spend
Because
money.
we don't wanna spend an hour here
It-
on Tuesday.
If y'all would answer me questions, we'd be out here.
The last time I did talk to the lady at Alabama EMA, I was getting the impression that they're really wanting us to make a decision, so if y'all could.
They're never in a hurry. They're the EMA. We've been waiting on this for 14 years. They can wait a day
Well,
or two.
this is Alabama EMA, not.
It don't matter. The whole bunch it's been a drag on society on this.
Pretty young, yeah.
So,
So we'll get the UAS stuff on tomorrow's.
As
might as
well.
well get it on there and get it over with, we don't have to spend another $15,000.
Thank you.
So do we wanna put that on there? I mean, we're kinda jumping
Well, I mean,
around.
why not? If we're gonna, I
Let's go
mean,
back to number 4, put it on the
what am
agenda.
I putting on there?
The budget amendment.
Budget amendment of the.
Yeah, for the,
Who's getting that to me?
Mark has the numbers.
yeah.
Yeah, the numbers are all in that letter.
Okay, we don't have a public works project yet on that, do we? I guess I'll have to look up and see how it was done before.
You know, remember, it's Terry's fault the meeting runs long tomorrow.
I know.
Maybe we never approved it before, so we don't need to change.
Yeah, look and see, we'll know tomorrow, and you know, and
Yeah.
if it's not,
I'm looking, yeah, Brenda can look it up.
If I promise not to ask any questions, can we go ahead and put it on there and get this sucker going?
We'll do anything in the world if you won't ask any more questions.
they may be some side bets probably going on, if that's true. Yeah.
Y'all got any duct tape, chief? I got a sock.
No, don't go ahead.
So we waiting on Brenda, or are we gonna move on?
Let's move on.
We can move
We'll
on.
decide if we can get it on there or not.
Yeah,
So
if you can,
we
you
will,
can,
we
you can,
can't,
you
we
can't,
won't.
you know.
Right, item 6, the portable restroom. I know last meeting I discussed with you guys that there are some options. I know a baby changing station was suggested of a price of $400. I just wanted to make sure there was no other changes that you wanted me to look at. And if not, well, I can probably have a surprise by next meeting, and we can get one of these on order also. The price was $55,126. That was the things that were already included. And,
Are we adding that for tomorrow?
no. Funny. No, we need to wait till after September to, first meeting in September to approve this.
I remember looking at that, but I don't have it here in front of me,
I didn't see anything.
I think the baby changing thing was the biggest.
Yeah.
Now, does that go in each room,
That's
the
what I-
men, women?
Yeah, that'll be
and
two.
handicap?
we'll be doing 2 of
Me
those,
too.
if not 3, but
$600 each?
there's
I got
400
five
each.
handicaps.
400 each. So yeah, probably a total, I'd have to ask, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know if there'd be one in the,
I don't know if in the ADA, if there's, maybe we could ask.
I'll
that if
just
it's
ask, I'll find out tomorrow.
Able to be, accessed. Yeah, I think that was the only thing that I remember seeing that was an add-on.
They did explain, I think I explained last time, they said about the wrap. They even said they think it would be more cost effective if we did that ourselves, or had someone locally do
Yeah,
that.
there's plenty of local options for that.
You know, you got aluminum wheels and diamond plate, I mean, it's all that stuff.
The rock guard.
Right, I mean, it's just, I think it will serve its purpose. The one that the mayor and I looked at is nice, clean, simple. I think really all it needed was our city logo on it. You agree?
I agree. I thought it was very, very well laid out. And I really liked the way you could level it easily.
That's awesome.
Is it advisable, thinking about it? I mean, if you could put the city logo on the bathroom, I have no problem with that, but make sure, in a way, I'm also thinking, I don't know about that, but really clearly indicating it's restrooms. I mean, if there's nothing
sure.
on it that says, you know.
Yeah,
restrooms.
exactly. Exactly, good point. They even made the statement, the one thing that they felt like Hokes Bluff that we looked at, it did not actually come with a signage
Yeah.
to tell you male and female.
I know, that's what, so, yeah,
That's
thinking
that's
about.
things that we'll have to purchase after the fact.
So it's gonna be male and female signage like that?
If that's what you want. We do whatever we want once we get it in. That's right, I guess that may be the reason why they don't.
Yeah, I
Do that.
know. I
Uh,
figured that. So many changes.
We gonna have to have a generator with it, right?
No,
it's
it'll
a-
plug,
it's
it'll have,
a
it'll,
for hookup.
But so wherever we go, we gotta make sure. we
that's
got plug.
another thing, I think, if we move forward with this, I think that's what we need to do next, is strategically look and already have areas that we know this is where it'll be. If we're gonna take it to Henry Farms, this is where it will be at.
That's where it goes.
Or Germania or whatever, Germania has restrooms.
Yeah, Germania Springs has it.
Henry does not there around the playground area. Where we're gonna put it, if we're on City Hall or anywhere. Make sure it's a nice level place that has access to water and power.
You can operate that thing with a generator.
You can, I think it
I think
changes.
it'd just be good to have a back. I
Right,
mean,
I think it changes.
Somewhere we might wanna look at,
Mhm.
having, we might even have a generator available. with-
Yeah, just to
around
have
it.
its own self-contained.
Well, hopefully soon we won't be using the generator out
Yeah,
here
but I
for
say,
our pump house.
we got that big one.
Mhm.
I don't
I
think
guess
it
we could.
requires, but.
Well, that's diesel, it was a nice little
No, yeah.
gasoline one.
Yeah, they got that
Run
quiet one
this
that they use at, farmer's market.
Yeah, quiet.
wider.
Mhm.
But I think it's great,
I do too.
I'm in.
Okay, then I'll follow up with that tomorrow. All right, item 7 is the JC's property.
Oh, is that
We
Councilman
talked about,
Galloway?
we talked about that a little bit last time, have done some investigating about that. Talked with Richardson about the process. He suggested we talk to Tim Hodges, tax assessor, about, he had some ideas about how we could make that happen. I got a reply back from him today, and he pretty much agreed with Richard's assessment of that, but he did give me a couple of names of people that were on that board originally he wanted me to reach out to before we did anything else, but it looks as if maybe the only way to make that happen is eminent domain. But he did want me to reach out to a couple of people first, and I just got a call back in today, and I hadn't had a chance to do that. And that was kind of Richard's thoughts too, maybe eminent domain may be the only way to make that work. The issue about eminent domain, one of the reasons I want to talk about that tonight, if we're gonna do an eminent domain, we have to have a public purpose for it. What is our purpose? I mean, why do we want it, I guess, so. And we don't have to decide that right now, but if we decide to go that route, we gotta specify what our public purpose for.
Are we
taking it.
limited on what we can do? I mean, as far as our public
I
purpose,
think as long as you can say publics get benefit from it some
Right.
way.
some
So,
benefit.
right,
Yeah.
if it's whatever,
Could be a park, could be another pocket park, it could be
Yeah.
whatever, I mean, any kind of public use. But I guess the thing is, they don't want you in the domain and turn it south. You know, they want you to
Yes.
see you using it.
yeah, I don't think that's the
And
thought.
you weren't supposed to ask him more questions.
I did.
No ice cream for him, right?
His ice cream gone.
No, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow you
That's
would
tomorrow, I
got.
said
Tomorrow,
that.
Steve.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so we are following up, we're still following up. see
Yeah,
what we need to
I'll
do.
try to talk with a couple of people he mentioned that two are still alive that was on that board at one point back there. And we've talked to the national folks, so, you know, they don't have any
Mhm.
concern one way or the other about what happens with it. And then the decision then is, if we can't figure out something without eminent domain, that's gonna be the next step. And the number one thing there is coming up with some reason that we're doing it.
Right.
Okay.
All right, let me ask you, the size of the lot and everything, what would be our options, just quickly off the, I mean,
Not much, it's a very small lot.
It's a shotgun.
I think it's about only 50 feet wide, I believe. It's fairly deep, I don't remember the dimensions.
You got it right here.
The man here
yeah.
came with the plan.
56 wide and, off the alleyway, about, yeah, and then it turns on the other, about 56, about 88 on that end, but then 154 up and down.
so it's
So
not
it's
big to
it's a
build
long, narrow
house
lot.
or any kind of construction thing, right?
It'd be pretty limited, I don't know what the,
You got a lot of frontage actually on Alexandria Road.
it'd be pretty difficult to build a house on it, I think.
Mhm.
So we're limited to parks or,
I think that was the intent, to put something that the public could use.
Right.
I'm gonna say that. I'll wait.
Let's be thinking about that, something, if we decide that we want to go forward with this, that may be what we have to do. Always, maybe don't know we're gonna take.
Okay. Anything else on that?
That's all I have.
All right, any other business?
I'll give you an update on the school. I spent a couple of days last week drawing off kind of the plans for the interior to where we can get a price of what it's gonna do for the lock and key job. I've already talked to the builder, and as soon as I can get that to him, he's gonna start figuring out what the cost will be. That'll include the heating, cooling the whole building, putting the kitchen in, the roof, total key job. And then, after talking to the committee, we're gonna go ahead and put in there, fixing the baseball field up. We're gonna go ahead and, have maybe a place, a walking place for handicapped kids, everything around that playground, equipment and stuff that we had requested a couple of years ago, and that still sticks in my head. And, we're gonna go ahead and figure out the equipment. Janet's gonna be working on weight machines or whatever, and then tables and chairs and everything, because it's gonna be a total deal that we're gonna go after. And then after the dust settles, we'll see what we can get done. But, I think it's very obtainable right now if we could, with the people involved, so that's him. I quit.
I got a question. I had a potential donor to call me and want to know where they send the money.
All right, it's, Ben's, aren't you fixing to put the post office box and everything where to send the money, the checks to?
Bert had sent the most recent version of the post to get it checked out to make sure that everything we're saying is legit, and that whether or not we should include city logos and things like that. So once I've gotten that approval, yeah, we're running.
But the mailbox is already ready, from what Bert said, right?
Yeah, everything's written and ready to go, we just have to get approval to send it out.
I can give you the mailbox and how the check should be made out. Just don't wait on, just don't, yeah, well, I mean, hold on. I'll get it to you before we leave.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Anything else?
Did we ever get a price on a logo for a tent? You know, when we have city events, we want a city logo on it.
I don't think we've followed up. I have not followed up with that. That'd be something
think
else,
we-
Janice.
yes.
I mean, those tents aren't that expensive. Don't you have, both of you have one, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
About 800 is what we get for ours.
yeah. Is 10 by 10, 10 by 12?
Yeah, something.
Who, did you both go through the same company?
Okay.
I'm not sure we placed it.
We got ours from, what's that name? It's a promotion company, like 4M Print, I think.
4M Print?
We got it from. Ours wasn't that expensive, less than $5.
Yeah. We just noticed when we had the Eastwood event, the tents we were using, we had, I mean, there was no definition.
Nondescript,
Right,
yeah.
there was no definition of who we were or what we were doing.
Can I have somebody look in,
Do it.
I can have somebody look that up through our purchasing.
Okay, great, thank you.
What size would you want?
I think a 10 by 10 would be plenty big enough. We need something large enough to put a table underneath it and a couple of chairs.
You may wanna consider one, getting some sides with air conditioning on it, that's gonna be as hot as it was when we were out there.
That's true.
It was hot.
Add that to your list, all your other Eastwood.
Hey, we're gonna have a tent, all right.
Anything?
Yes, you remember last time we had a contract from Sparklight
Mhm.
that had some concerns about that Rick was looking at. And that's been revisited by Sparklight. I think they agreed with most everything that Richard had concerns about, except one that he still has concerns about. But Richard, you probably explain that better than I. You want to?
It's just the same, they have a provision in there wherein we agree to pay their lawyers and their legal fees and their expert witnesses and any and all cost of litigation if they get sued for anything having to do with this contract. We told them that, and they came back with putting at the front of those two sentences, which were objectionable, insofar as allowed by law. There are multiple theories that say you cannot enforce such a provision against a municipality. There's no absolute statute that says you cannot contract with a city wherein the city would be willing to agree to those terms, to where you're gonna just, the reason it's legally objectable is it's an unfunded and unbudgeted liability, and you're obligated to have a budget, and you're obligated to budget your expenditures before you make them. And this would not be. This is just a matter of, some bunch of lawyers from somewhere saying this is how much we charge, and you gotta pay it because you agreed to pay it. Like I say, some of the lawyers in the municipal law business endorse the idea of just put up at the front that says, insofar as allowed by law, the city agrees to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless Sparklight. Certainly up to you. It's always gonna be objectionable to anybody who's reading it with an eye toward future potential litigation or expense.
You're saying there's no actually law or anything that would protect for you to defend if they wanna go play hardball and go ahead?
Actually, I think probably the current state of decisions in Alabama would give the city a very good argument to say you can't enforce this provision against us. We're not entitled to agree to defend you and indemnify you for damages and hold you harmless from any liability claims. You can't enforce that against us. Well, if they can't enforce it against us, then why would we agree to put it in a contract that we sign with them, is my thought. And again, it's just objectionable. It doesn't have to be a deal killer. It doesn't have to be, y'all are certainly free to agree to it. But I see them, they pop up in all the contracts. The architect contracts, the engineer contracts, all the standard contracts have it in there. But, right now you don't have an obligation to pay Sparklight's damages and Sparklight's lawyers. You won't have that obligation unless you sign this agreement. And this agreement further says, which is fine, but it further says that they make virtually no warranty and no guarantee and no assertion that what they're gonna do for you is gonna work. But that's also not uncommon in this day and age. But from my perspective, from me looking at it, it's the indemnify, defend, and hold harmless language that is certainly objectionable. It's just a matter of the idea of agreeing to that would be something that I would counsel against. But I can tell you, I know when you put lights down around the walking track, you agreed to it with Alabama Power Company. It depends on who you're talking to. Depends on what your strength of bargaining power is on both, in a contract. You know,
What happens if we tell them no, that needs to be removed?
They may choose not to provide the service to you. You would go to another provider. They may say.
Another provider may be the same way, but the same.
That's true too. You may not find anybody who's willing to provide the service without that terminology in there. Certainly, it may never come to pass. And if it did come to pass, you may have an absolute defense that you don't have to abide a term that you agreed to. But that's no way to run a railroad, is to sit here and say, well, we'll agree to this because they can't make us do it. I don't think that's a real strategy.
A lot of money. But you're rolling the dice.
I always do. And,
Yeah.
and again, you've got staff who have dealt with these folks, who endorse these folks, that, you know, should have a lot more sway over what you do than what I say. I'm analyzing, I'm reading. I'm one more person reading the words on the page, and this is the stuff that always jumps out at me.
Then we're kinda getting in a time crunch too,
Getting closer, yeah.
I think it is on the agenda tonight,
No, it's not, is it? I don't think.
We can do it
We could
tomorrow.
add it if you wanted to do
You
it.
can do it tomorrow too.
She's prepared to add it if you.
No, that's what you, go ahead and add it, go ahead and do it, get it over. You okay with that?
Yeah.
I think Tim feels good about it.
And I think we agreed to it in our previous Sparklight contracts. It's,
Have you ever been, run into a situation where something has happened and that has been kicked in for whoever you're working with as far as the spark light?
I haven't, you know, in looking at that particular contract, and I hesitate to even give an opinion because I'm not qualified, but in reading it seems to be a qualified indemnity for misuse of, or illegal use or misuse of the phone system or the services. But then it gets more vague after that, so I don't know, I can't say legally where it puts the city. I just know that they've been a good vendor. We haven't had any trouble with them. Well, we've had trouble with all vendors, but you know.
Well, and we do have, you know, I know this would be petty, but we do have the option to choose or award the franchisees of any entity like that comes into the city. No one else ever bids on it because of our size, but, once again, they're a reputable company. They've been around. If we were dealing with, you know, Joe's Internet, no offense to any
I
Joes.
think we got, that's just, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Just hope nothing like happens.
Right. So you okay to add that tonight? Okay, we good? Any other business?
Yes. In your amendments, there was the thing added about the outside agencies, the funding of commercial development authority. That amount is what you agreed for FY '23, and their account has just recently went under the $5,000 level, so that's why they're now asking for that amount.
Okay.
That's below his.
Hmm.
Can he just not get to do that?
No, I think that's what we had a budget, that's what we budgeted for this current year's budget. So, then we asked that they have to come in and ask for their money, so now,
We've asked others to show up.
I got
Mm.
you.
so we good on that?
Yes.
All right, nothing else?
All right.
All right, we'll adjourn. Get back started at 7 PM. Thank you all.
welcome everyone to the City Council meeting on this August 28th, 2023. Call this meeting to order and ask you all to please stand. The invitation is going to be given by Reverend Robert Fowler from St. Luke's Episcopal Church, and then remain standing for pledge of allegiance. Reverend.
Thank you. I invite you to bow your heads with me, please. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us the freedom to come here today and have representatives that speak for their delegations. We are especially thankful for the rain that has blessed us today and ask that you give it to us in moderation without storms. We are so grateful for the city of Jacksonville, where families can raise children and feel safe in this time when there is so much disturbance in our country. This is a good place to live, and it's run by competent and loving people who show compassion and strength. So just take us through these days and let us do our work and do it to your pleasure. Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Y'all have a good meeting.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Laster? Here.
Everyone being present, we'll move on to the next item, the adoption of the minutes. Any questions, comments on the minutes?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 6, the adoption of the agenda, and I believe we have some changes.
Yes. Main agenda, add item 9A, consider action to approve amendment number 1 to JPWP number 22-107, resurfacing George Douthit Drive Southwest from Briarwood Place Southwest to 500 feet west of SR-21 per the attached. Also add 9B, consider action to approve the employment of the following. A, Brianna Finley, Recreation and Athletics Assistant, Range 7, effective August 30th, 2023, due to the resignation of Adrian Gibson. Ms. Finley is currently a part-time laborer for PAR. Also add 9C, consider action to authorize the mayor to sign the Sparklight Business Service Agreement per the attached. On the consent agenda, add 11A, purchases over $7,500. 1, outside agencies. A, $50,000 to Commercial Development Authority for the purpose of awarding grants. 2, utility office. A, $8,828.21 to Empire Pipe and Supply for the purchase of a meter and vault at Big Dan's Car Wash to be reimbursed by contractor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 7 will be proclamations. We'll move on to item 8. Item 8 is public comments concerning any agenda item. If you have anything that you want to address the city, this is time to do so. Seeing no one come forward, move on to item 9.
Consider action to authorize the mayor to sign the purchase agreement with Cardiac Solutions for the purchase of automated external defibrillators for the police department per the attached. Opioid funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 9A.
Consider action to approve amendment number 1 to JPWP number 22-107, resurfacing George Douthit Drive Southwest from Briarwood Place Southwest to 500 feet west of SR-21 per the attached.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 9C.
9B.
B.
Consider action to approve the employment of the following: Brianna Finley, Recreation and Athletics Assistant, Range 7, effective August 30th, 2023, Due to the resignation of Adrian Gibson, Ms. Finley is currently a part-time laborer for PAR.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 9C.
Consider action to authorize the mayor to sign the Sparklight Business Service Agreement for the attached.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 10.
Consider action to accept the resignation from the following: Evie McCombs, Public Safety Communications Officer, effective September 7th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Item 11, budget amendment requests. Item 11A, purchases over $7,500. Item 12, request to attend conference training session with cost exceeding $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and 2 seconds, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13 is public comments concerning any general items. Anyone like to come forward and address the council? See no one come forward, we'll move on to item 14, council member remarks. Hearing none, we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Just a quick reminder, the library will be closed Saturday, or it's already Wednesday, and then rest of the city offices will be closed Monday or every day. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Any other business need to come before the council? Hearing none, item 17.
Consider action to adjourn into executive session under the provisions of the Code of Alabama, section 36-25A-7A6, to discuss the purchase, sale, or lease of real property.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, 2 seconds. Any discussion? Other than we will not be returning, we'll be adjourning after the executive session. So I hope you all have a good night. No other, roll call please.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Laster?
Yes.
Thank you all. Be safe.
You said it right.